This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel. You've waited a long time for it, a whole weekend without any Oilers content on Dolynny TV, any content at all. So I appreciate anyone that tuned in to anything else I've got on the channel just to fill the time. But ladies and gentlemen, how about this, eh? Alright, work in progress. I promise you, it's a work in progress. I gotta figure out this whole wall over here yet, but I need to get something up at 6:09 in the evening, and we got to talk Oilers before I end up going to bed to get to work in the morning. Now, ladies and gentlemen, lots of signings again today. A lot of guys at league minimum or near league minimum. So, it's getting to be that time of free agency, right? So I'll read you the past several signings here today. Joachim Nordstrom, 700 league minimum. Ian McCoshen, league minimum. Hunter Miska, 725. Adam Gaudette, 950. Christian Fischer, 1 million. Keegan Colser, 725. Jace Howerluck, 800. Then you've got Stephen Fogarty at 700. JC Beaudoin at 700. And then Rem Pitlick at 874. Tyson Jost at 874, 125. And then you've got couple other guys getting in there as well, but with names that I don't recognize, so we don't need to worry about. But you get where I'm going with that. A lot of cheap contracts, and some of those names you might actually recognize, right? Like Tyson Jost in there, Adam Gaudette. Yeah, those names are pretty mentionable. Now the Oilers seem to have a young guy as well who doesn't have a contract, and we've all been playing the game trying to figure out, well, what does the contract look like for Ethan Bear going into the 2021 season? And it's a good question because going into the offseason we thought probably somewhere 1.2 to 1.5, some would go as high as 2 million on a 1-year deal. That kind of seemed to be the middle ground. Now all of a sudden you have this weird Clefbaum injury, all right? This is what really complicates the situation, is the Clefbaum injury. Now you can look at it as, well, he'll be on LTIR, so you can sign Bear to more money. But if Clefbaum isn't on the LTIR, or if the plan isn't to use that money to sign Ethan Bear, all of a sudden the pocketbook hits very light for the Edmonton Oilers when it comes to Ethan Bear. And that is probably partly due to what we did in free agency, but more or less the reality for a lot of young players who are RFAs this year and just trying to survive in the next season with their NHL club. So in the case of an Adam Gaudette or in the case of a Tyson Jost, those two guys were probably looking at $1.5 million contracts pre-COVID-19 when the cap was supposed to rise, almost without a doubt. But now here you have them sitting at less than $1 million. And now Ethan Bear, probably the best of the three of the names, honestly, in terms of production last year and what he gave the team in a role. But you look at it, if those guys are getting below $1 million, there is absolutely no way that Ethan Bear gets more than 1.2. That's the part, right? There is no way that Ethan Bear goes out there and gets more than $1.2 million on a contract. And honestly, I'm going to sit here and probably argue with you that Ethan Bear ends up getting a $1 million 1-year contract, see where we stand next season kind of deal. Because you've got this other situation with a guy named Tyson Barrie who's complicating the right side as well, right? So Tyson Barrie, the plan is, by the sounds of it, he wants to stick around and stay with the Oilers after this season. It's just a show me, prove me contract to get the contract he's looking for out of the cap space the Oilers have going into the season after the one upcoming. So, right, that complicates the picture for Ethan Bear. But then again, look at it this way. If Ethan Bear has as good of a go as he did in the 1920 season, like if the curve stays the same way, good night. The guy's looking at a huge contract. Nobody's questioning his spot on the team. And look at the development curve go up and up and up and up, right? And that's obviously more or less, no matter how you look at it, what the plan is going to be with any contract for Ethan Bear is just bridge him out to next season and then get him that big deal that he's probably looking for if the development curve's there. Obviously, I'm always looking for a fair compensation deal, but if he ends up being, like, you look at it, right, went from full-time AHLer in 18-19 all the way to top 4, top 2, depending on who you are, defenseman for the Edmonton Oilers in his 19-20 season. If you go up the curve like that, all of a sudden, yeah, you're going to be talking quite a pay raise. Somehow, Darnell Nurse making $5.6 million. So ask yourself that, right? If you're looking at any kind of development curve for Ethan Bear, that's numbers all of a sudden, yeah, if Darnell Nurse making it, yeah, Ethan Bear should be as well. So again, it's all difficult because the Oilers have a lot more cap space available next offseason, but the problem is, what do you do with a Nuge extension? There's a lot of questions. Tyson Barrie complicates it all in all, but right now the focus has to be just figuring out something both sides can agree to and get on paper and get going for next season. But again, no matter how you look at it, you're going to have to find a way to get under the cap, because I don't think Ken Holland would be comfortable signing the Ethan Bear extension, especially if it is multi-year or single-year, it doesn't matter, but I don't think he'd be comfortable signing that deal knowing he's going to use Clefbaum LTIR money to do it. Because without a firm start date for the NHL season, you can't plan to use LTIR money that you don't know when you'll enact. That's kind of my argument there, is if you don't know when you're going to get to enact LTIR money, if you even do, right? Who knows? The way Oscar Clefbaum's gone through his career, he's full of surprises. So who knows what's next for Oscar Clefbaum at this point. But when it comes to Ethan Bear and the Edmonton Oilers, you just got to find a deal that works, get the job done, and then move on. But again, that's probably going to be under the cap. That's key, under the cap, which means probably trading somebody out at this point. And when you look at the deals, what do you do to trade somebody out, right? Maybe you could leave Gaetan Haas or Joachim Nygaard in Europe, right? That's been floated out there on Twitter today. You could leave Patrick Russell in Europe. You could leave a couple guys in Europe, or you could just, right? What do you do? Where else do you do? Do you trade Chris Russell? I don't think anyone's taking a $4 million cap hit. Do you trade Adam Larson? Nobody's taking that cap hit for real cheap, right? Well, I guess cost to us is more than cost to them, is what I should say. Jujhar Khaira, can you get rid of that contract, 1.2 for 7th rounder? Sure you can, but is that going to be fair enough compensation? No, it's not. But again, what do you do? Is we have $80,000 in cap space, so you're looking to find somewhere above $1 million to sign Ethan Bear, if not at least probably $1.5 million. So you'd be talking, do you trade Josh Archibald after just signing him to a 2-year extension? Doubt it. Alex Chiasson's probably your only target you can find to find the cap space you're looking for when it comes to trading a guy to get the cap space to sign Bear and probably get one more move for the defense under your belt. That's end of the day what it looks like. So when it comes down to it for Ken Holland, there's limited options because A, you don't know what's going on with Clefbaum, so you don't want to be stupid and spend money you don't have, but B, you need to trade someone essentially to spend the money you do have because it's tied up elsewhere. So guys, that's the complicating factors for an Ethan Bear extension at this point. And when it comes down to it, right, look at the rest of the guys on the market. You're probably looking a solid $1 million deal. But how do you get a $1 million deal for Ethan Bear when you don't have any cap space over $100,000, right? And again, that Clefbaum factor. End of the day, I think the Clefbaum factor is the biggest thing for me at this point, is just figuring out what the Edmonton Oilers do with him and what they do to get the job done. So guys, I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. You know what? It's been a weird, long weekend. It was a long day at work, but my goodness, I survived. It was a good day at work. I don't think I had more than 2 seconds to scroll Twitter today before going back into the warehouse to pick an order. So that was solid. And of course, slow day on the Oilers news, so don't need to worry too much about that. Long drive home, and away we go. So ladies and gentlemen, again, that's the new backdrop. That's what I'm thinking, right? Bakersfield Condors, I can sit any way I want here. I need to green the other wall, and then we'll be all of a sudden talking. That Oilers banner can come down, and we can start talking to all kinds of fancy things. I need to figure out the lighting up here, and then we'll be really good. But guys, let me know what your thoughts on the new setup are, and any ideas as to what else I can change here to solve everything. I kind of like how the jerseys are sliding down. That gives that effect there that I'm looking for going in the bookcase. But I don't know, guys. A lot of room to play with here, so it's going to be fun. The only thing is the other wall, the other 2 walls have daylight shining on them, so I don't want to do that too much. Guys, again, I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. I'll let you go. It's been a long weekend, but we're back. I am up on out of here.